Yo guys, Jimmy Jammer here, bringing you a video of going over my opinion on the manifesto and the patch notes. I haven't looked at the patch notes yet, but I have looked at the manifesto. So I just want to give my 2 cents of what I think about it. So I'm not going to read through it, I'm just going to say the part and then put my opinion on it. So for the Valpak Keystone, if those of you don't know what they did, taking away the instant leech, but they're giving you, I think it's double your character's leech rate and maximum leech rate, which is really good in my opinion. And they were saying that it was one of the most requested nerfs, and I was on that list because I wanted Valpak gone a long time ago. I personally think that if they removed Valpak, CI would have been fine before the nerf. But no, they killed that too. But I never played CI, so I didn't really care. But that's my opinion on the Valpak Keystone. I thought it was too powerful. I never used it personally because I focus my character more on life regen usually. I wasn't sure about Adziri's gloves. I was talking to my buddy about it when they announced the Valpak change, and I was wondering if they were going to get touched because they're such a rare item, but apparently they are. I've been thinking about using them for a build, so maybe. I wouldn't mind using them because you don't get the negative effect of no regen, which is a huge deal for me. As I figured, the Slayer would get tweaked a bit because of that, because if not, a Slayer would be way too OP with the Valpak note, in my opinion. So a little tweak down I kind of expected, because they would just leech for ever. That's crazy. For the mind over matter thing, I was kind of surprised with this one. I understand where they're coming from, but yeah, I don't know if this one was really necessary in my opinion. So what they're doing is nerfing the mana nodes behind mind over matter. I understand early on in the game that's a lot of mana, but I don't know, too bad there wasn't a way they can add it where you gain more mana per level with that or something. For vulnerability, despair, and wither, I like the changes that they're doing. They're making it so vulnerability is a strength gem, focused on physical damage, bleed, and maim. I am curious to see what it's going to do with maim, if it's going to make the debuff better or something. I have no idea. So yeah, I'm not sure what they are going to do with maim. Bleed's obviously the same. So, and physical damage, it makes perfect sense to me. And adding another curse for chaos stuff is pretty good too. And the fact that it lowers chaos resist, which is the first curse that's done that. I'm just curious to see if they make it so monsters can be resistant to chaos now, since you can debuff it, because that was the perk before, is you never had a curse, but nothing other than bosses really resisted it, and exiles and whatnot. But added chaos damage and stuff. Wither, it was pretty OP, so I kind of saw that nerf coming in a way. So I'm pretty fine with the Wither nerf. But yeah. And then the Witch Fire Brew does despair, makes perfect sense. Dark Pact, I always wanted to try it. I understand why people are salty over this, but it seemed like it was pretty OP or whatever. So I'm not sure with Dark Pact. Like I said, I've never used it. I've wanted to try it out, but I was making other builds and stuff too. But I've seen people play it, and it seemed pretty crazy, especially with Valpak. Barrage, I saw a nerf coming to that in a while ago. I don't know if they nerfed the skill yet. I haven't looked at the patch notes. But I was kind of expecting Barrage to get hit pretty hard. But they made it so there's no Merciless Lab enchant, and then the Uber Lab's only going to give it +1. And then existing helm enchants are unmodified, so I got a +2 one on standard that will probably rot there. I am fighting off of hiccups or something here. For the Doom Fletch, I saw builds on it. It was pretty crazy damage. It did. I kind of expected it to get nerfed because apparently it was pretty crazy. I don't know much about the bow, like how it worked or anything, as I never played a bow character last league. But from what I've seen from the videos, it needed to be toned down just a little bit. But it still looks like it's pretty good. You just can't crit with it now. Or you can't crit as much with it. Queen of the Forest, I was surprised with this one. My opinion is they should have left the evasion rating where it was, but just put the cap in. Then it wouldn't... It'd just be a cap. And it wouldn't affect your evasion rating for your character that's trying to be an invasion character. Evasion, not invasion. So, I understand the 100% movement speed thing, but I don't understand the, personally, the, increased evasion rating. Rise of the Phoenix. This one kind of surprised me because I know RF builds can get away with not even using it. So, I don't know. The max res, you might as well use a, I forget what the shield's called, but the one with +4 to max to all instead of this. And like, if they're trying to kill RF with this, the life regen has been increased to 15 or 20 per second from 6. If you have 10,000 HP, that isn't gonna do anything. Like, to me, they should have put like a flat like 1% or something on there. It would have done way better than that. And the extra life on it's pretty nice. So, pretty much the extra life and the life regen kind of cancel each other out in a way for the degen of RF. But yeah, and then the experience chances. A lot of people are salty over this one. My opinion on it is I've never had a character past 93. I don't know if I'll ever get one past 93. So for me, doesn't even affect me at all. But way back in the day, I've been playing since closed beta. They did not want you to hit level 100. And it was a lot harder to hit back then, so I think they're trying to do that again, which is I'm perfectly fine with. Like, to me, hitting 100 is just like, yay, I leveled up. That's it. So that's my opinion on the manifesto for the Fall of Oriath, and I love the fact that he put Path of Nerfs on here because he's just playing the meme. So, in my opinion, I was expecting more nerfs. I haven't read the patch notes, but the nerfs I was expecting was to Sunder, the Righteous Fire, and for me, for some reason, I thought the explosion from Herald of Ice was going to get hit. But those were the ones I was expecting, but a lot of these I wasn't. But yeah, so let's head over to the patch notes now. I have not read these yet, so I'm going to be taking some time with this. So, mysterious entity known as the Elder hunts the Atlas of world, spreading decay, battling the Shaper for control. More information. We've all seen the video. Added 32 new maps, including 2 unique maps. It's always good. Hopefully it shakes up the Atlas a bit for sexting and stuff. Added new boss fights with the Elder and his 4 guardians. Introduced shaped and Elder items. I'm interested to see what the shaped ones are. These items can be only be obtained in areas where Shaper or the Elder holds influence. By defeating the Shaper or by defeating the Shaper or Elder themselves. Shaped and Elder items can obtain mods not found elsewhere, as well as a higher tier version of some existing mods. I like this because if people want that type of gear or a different way to farm, you're not just going to do like shape strand, shape strand. Try to say that 3 times without messing it up. Shape strand or like atoll or port map or whatever. So I think that's good. And added a new quest, the Queen of the Sands. This quest can be obtained by talking to whatever his name is in Act 9, completing the prerequisite quest for the Stormblade. The Book of Skill quest Reward for completing the Stormblade has been moved to Queen of the Sands. The Stormblade now rewards players with their choice of several rare weapons. That's kind of crappy. A lot of people were hoping for their charge, like the bandit charge that we lost, like Power of Frenzy or Endurance, but that seems kind of crappy. 48 new unique items. It's always welcome. I'm sure a lot of them are going to be garbage, but there might be the odd good one in there. Divination cards, sure. All the skill gems that they came out, I'm kind of excited with it, with some of the new ones. I'm not really going to go over to the skill gems because I think everyone knows. I'm just trying to find out the one that they haven't announced yet. I don't see the one that they haven't noticed yet, or haven't announced yet. Oh, I guess we'll find it. Added a new unique strongbox designed by one of our supporters. That's a neat thing to use your added a new rogue exile based on the winner of the best dressed exile competition. New exiles are always cool. The Abyss Challenge League. I'm excited for this league. Like, it can't be any worse than Harbinger. It's one of the worst leagues to me. Challenge leagues are a great opportunity to start fresh in the economy. All of your old characters and items are still present in standard hardcore leagues, but you're encouraged to join the new leagues, complete challenges, demonstrate the mastery of Path of Exile. With 3.1, there are standard and hardcore versions of the Abyss League available, as well as solo self-found variants of both. They have the same core mechanics and items in the Abyss League. Players will encounter cracks in the ground. Get too close, these cracks will spread, allowing terrible monsters to climb from their inky depths through these cracks, and you may discover a massive chasm from which dangerous packs of monsters emerge. Once you defeat these monsters, the abyss continues to propagate, creating more chasms. Take too long and the abyss will seal shut, but if you're quick and deadly enough, a chest filled with valuable rewards will emerge from below. I kind of like that. Like, I'm not a huge fan of that clear speed meta, but I think that's alright. As players progress through the Abyss League, some pits may offer access to the abyssal depths below. Abyssal depths are packed with monsters and creatures for valuable rewards and accumulate. Is that what that is? An existing boss to counter. Exciting boss encounter. That would be kind of, I hope the boss is fun. Exploring the abyssal depths in high level areas may result in an encounter with the Lich boss. These difficult boss fights are quite rare but very rewarding. Defeating the Lich is the only way to earn exclusive Abyss unique items. So hopefully they didn't make the fight too crazy, but hopefully it's a little bit of a challenge. Monsters and chests from the Abyss can drop Abyss jewels. Like other jewels, these can be placed in sockets of your passive tree to grant powerful bonuses. Unlike other jewels, they have a set of exclusive new properties and can also be placed in abyssal sockets on your items. Sockets can be found in the new Abyss uniques and the new base type of Abyss socket about the Staggling Vise. This week includes a set of 40 new challenges, one at 12, one at 24, 36, blah blah blah, and then your totem pole. Minor features: the targeting behavior of many skills has been improved, especially against large targets such as Katava or Arakali. Hopefully it's right. Updated the item frames to fit the current user interface. Updated the stash chest model. So new, so shiny. Yay. The tutorial has been slightly adjusted to better direct players who are having trouble very early on. Added a tutorial element for using portal scrolls and improved the waypoint tutorial. Hopefully they made it so you can turn off the tutorial if you don't want it. Like the stupid things that pop up. Added a visible tutorial barrier to the entry of Lion's Eye Watch, which vanishes after passive skill point is spent. You can now open the help menu by pressing a button. You can now dismiss help panel. Nice. So I think that's the help panel I was thinking of. They'll disappear by themselves after 6 seconds. You can now turn divination cards in the valid town or a hideout. It's kind of cool. Make her useful. I hated prophecy, so Forsaken Masters have moved back to Oriath and can now be found in the Epilogue Town. Why can't I pronounce that? Sure. An effect is now played on corpses with disappeared due into hidden corpse creation limit of skills like desecrate and unearth. Value for elements such as shock, chill effectiveness can now be viewed character panel. Added a system for scaling the visual effects of elements based on the size of the monster. Added voice acting for many NPCs and story glyphs, which were missing when they were added in the Far of Oriath. Added images to the map pin hovers for areas added to the Fall of Oriath. Added an option to leave your current party to the character portrait drop-down menu. That's cool. I'm so used to going to the social panel, but the league selected on the drop-down menu, the character selection screen is now saved and will be selected the league whenever you open your client. Improve the quest reward for section user interface. Sure. Added a timer below each flask icon when and while the flask is active. I like that. That's a cool, I like this one right here. It's a small quality of life thing, but I'm really going to enjoy that one. Just gets to the maximum use out of your flask. Debuffs are now displayed on a separate line to buffs, flask effects, and charges. Auras you have activated that are affecting you no longer displayed in the buff bar as the skill icon shows which auras are active. Auras from other sources will appear in your buff bar. Makes sense. Skills with modified cooldowns now show their final cooldown rather than the cooldown modifier. Sure. Monsters will now show their rarity as they're emerging. I don't get that at all. Sure. The Challenges tab now displays the number of challenges you have completed at the top. The default minimum for dynamic resolution scaling is to be set to 30 frames a second. You can change this in the options menu. Improve the effects for monster rarities and elements. Added support to subsurface scattering. Check out the ice and candles. Optimize a lot of scales, areas, and monsters and effects. Continue to improve the sound art and effects, the environments. Hopefully, get rid of that annoying sound popping. So, character bouncing, Intimidate now causes enemy to take 10% increased attack damage rather than 10% increased damage. So that that's a nerf to RF right there, or any spellcaster really. The experience penalty at very high levels have been increased. Second. Alright. I'm just gonna grab a drink fast. Existing vulnerability skill gems and despair gems. Okay, we already talked about that. Your minions and their minions will no longer deal or take damage while you are dead. Finally. No more like cheesing the Shaper with the Necromancer or Golem Builder. It's just like I can just die and then kill the Shaper. Detonate Dead now deals spell damage based on the level of the skill gem. In addition, I was kind of bummed with this. Detonate Dead was one of my favorite skills, but since they removed, cast time has been lowered to 0.6 seconds. That is huge. And more crit. That's always good if you want to do the crit. Raise Spectre now grants additional accuracy to Spectres based on the level of the gem. It's always good. Bear Trap and Vow Rain of Arrows now remove all movement speed as opposed to reducing it by 300%. So it no longer puts you in the same spot. Raging Spirits now have 15% less added damage multiplier, up from 30. Does that mean that's a buff? Summon Skeletons now have 50% more added damage multiplier, up from 30 less added damage. Raging Spirit Spiders created from Actinal Fang and the Spirit Skulls from Essence of Insanity can no longer taunt their enemies. I didn't even know they taunted. The amount of burning damage dealt by burning ground creating created by burning arrow on a character with the pitch darkness threshold jewel is now determined by the level of the burning arrow skill gem. Okay. Orb of Storms can now trigger lightning strikes from channeled spells. That's cool. So lightning 10s or Orb of Storms or whatever. Desecrate now creates 5 corpses. The whole Desecrate thing was awesome. Lightning Tentacles, I'm excited to try it actually. I'm probably going to play around with it. Minion Life Support Gem now affects Minion Life so it's now more life. More minion life rather than increased minion. That's so good. That is a nice buff right there. That is a really nice buff. Dark Pact now counts being a minion skill gem and will thus interact with effects such as the ones found in... That's interesting. That's really interesting. I like that because, like, if you can play a summoner with all your, like, minion damage nodes and everything, it's just like you might as well use Dark Pact to support your minions. That's cool. That's interesting. Ruthless Support can no longer support channeled skills. Random. Cyclone can no longer be supported by Ruthless. Huge nerf. Oh my god, that's a big nerf. Ruthless was so good with Cyclone. RIP. Iron Will can now support summon skeletons and will affect the damage dealt by skeleton mages if you're using the Dead Reckoning threshold jewel. Interesting. Arctic Armor chilling effect now slows enemies by 30% when you're hit up from 10. Melee attacks supported with multi-strike now have more accuracy and take attack range, including area of effect modifiers, into account when checking for targets for subsequential attacks. This has negatively impacted some skills and positively impacted others, but the general melee skill supported by multi-strike will target monsters that better fit the behavior of the attack. That's interesting. I think that's cool. Wavefall area's effect is wider than intended, close to the caster, and the area of effect is now better matches the area that the blades visually land. The total width of Bladefall's area of effect has been increased slightly to compensate for the now narrower early stage. Interesting. Stormburst is now correctly modified by factors based on the state of the projectile, such as powerful precision. Projectiles have 100% increased critical strikes against targets they pierce. So you can just get... Oh, that's only 100%. Thought it was like, you get guaranteed crits with this. Interesting. Charge dash is now limited to a maximum of 15 strikes per skill use, as well as limited to distance traveled. Static strikes radius has been increased from 19 to 20, bringing the total radius to 24. Gem level 20 static strikes explosion now correctly applies the elements with 40% less effect. It was previously applying elements without taking the less damage modifier into account. Ice Crash radius has been increased from 8 to 9 at the first stage, from 16 to 18 in the second stage, and from 24 to 26 in the third stage. Interesting. Not bad. I kind of like Ice Crash. Earthquake's radius has been increased from 25 to 28 for the second stage. So that needed some love. Rave's radius has been increased from 17 to 20, bringing it up to 24 at gem level 20. Wither now increases chaos damage taken by 6. We talked about that earlier. Bow Power Siphon's radius has been reduced to 70 units, down from 120. I didn't think anybody ever used that. I guess the Wander build used that. Item balance divination cards. The locations, drop rates, and requirements for many divination cards have been reworked, part due to the change of the atlas in this patch, and in part to better integrate divination cards into these areas introduced in the Fall of Oriath. Sure. I'm not sure what they mean. I don't know if they're going to nerf like the Doctor card or the Exalt cards in Vault, since I think they're moving that. Life regen mods have been slightly renamed and reordered as 2 higher tiers have been added. Okay. Life regen mods on rare items have been buffed across the board. with the existing highest tier mod now granting up to 20 life per second. Existing items can be updated to the new values using divine orbs. That's cool. 20% life regen doesn't seem like much, but if you have like 3 or 4 of those items on, it's pretty good. When using a belt, Essence of Insanity now grants 10% increased movement speed during any flask effect, up from 5. Atlas only items base types can no longer be found in Valside areas. Unique item. So we already talked about Adziri's gloves, Witchfire and Doomflench. Kong Ming's Strat Gem, I guess that's what it's called, no longer creates a smoke cloud when Socketed Trap is triggered. Instead, it grants a Fog of War skill, which creates a smoke cloud when any of your traps are triggered. This skill has a cooldown. Interesting. Lion's Roar only grants knockback to melee attacks during flask effect. Big nerf. That flask is dead. Oh my god, that's a huge nerf. That flask is now dead. That's a terrible... That's so bad. That is now going to be just a vendor flask. Like, what melee wants to have knockback? Like, really? I have no idea how to pronounce that. Chance to drop from monsters have been greatly reduced. This item is being used on a significant portion of melee characters across an extremely way cheap... Oh, that's the shield. Okay. So they made it rare. Driscoll's Collar chance to drop from monsters have been greatly reduced. Figured that was coming. Queen of the Forest we talked about. Cries of Phoenix we talked about. Omen of the Winds now allows Ice Shot to pierce 3 additional targets, down from 5. It can be divined. The Dancing Dervish, when it's active, now has a 25% chance to grant Rampage on kill when it hits a unique enemy. The minion created by this unique can no longer cross unwalkable... I'm not even sure what that is. Is that the bow? The Pandemonious. The chilling effect now slows enemy by 30% when you are hit, up from 10. The Baron now adds half your strength to your minions. I knew that was going to get hit. Rather than all your strength. This affects all versions of the item. I was kind of expecting a nerf to that. Dead Reckoning now correctly replaces the number of skeleton warriors with skeleton mages when using Val Summon skeletons. Death's Oath now properly uses its behavior when items, passives, or skills change in some way. Freeze duration that effect is based on energy shield has been changed. Alright, monster balance. How long is this? Holy moly. Jesus. New monsters have been added to areas. X67, Kataba. Okay, that's cool. The number of monsters found in areas throughout the campaign have been adjusted, and the number of monsters found throughout a game should be more consistent across multiple instances. The following unique monsters are no longer immune to freeze, and instead have a minimum action speed that they can be set to if they're frozen. The Shaper Guard. Oh, nice. So freeze builds might... Monsters which trigger skills based on the damage they take can now trigger those skills from taking damage over time. Passive monsters can spawn parasites. And now grant experience. Okay, that's cool. Kill crabs now give additional experience if destroyed before they would unleash their final form. Crimson Scholars give additional experience when shattered. Monster mods reflects physical damage and elemental damage have been reworked and now a Nemesis mod, so they shoot a mortar. Both versions of Reflect only appear. The effect caused by Flame Bear, Frost Bear, and Storm Bear Bloodbinds monsters now appear more quickly and should be more clearly visible. Eggs now explode to create. Okay, so they probably made her harder. Lightning Thorn skill used by no longer deals a flat amount of reflected damage to the attackers. Instead, it triggers a nova of lightning projectiles with the short cooldown. Okay, so that's kind of a buff to like Blade Vortex characters and stuff. Parasite infecting Hollow Skull will host some new enemy. I'm not sure what these are, but they can leave slam. Parasites drop off slain monsters will now match their host rarity. Riptide now better signals. Not sure what that is. Distinct. Life and damage of many Warbrands monsters have been adjusted to make them suitable map bosses. The beams of Virus reassembled counter have... Oh, that must be the final boss in Act 8. They also deal less damage, but the damage persists for duration. Beams in Malagaro's Storm Slam attack in Acts 7 and 9 now always poisons and maims on hit. Bloodstained skeletons found in the blood aqueducts been made slightly more difficult. Effigy of Fear Crows now deal more damage. Improved the Tolman encounter in Act 8. What's the Tolman one? Oh. And the Ant can now use a few extra skills. It might be a little rippy. Katarina missions, which require you to find, raise, and kill undead monsters, now use different on-death effects. Damn it, I was hoping for something like less shitty. Reduce the amount of damage dealt by Pillars of Carnage, Rune Explosion. Shabron's Ball Lightning deals more damage and clear area of effect. The skill also deals less damage at close range. Stormburst Act 9 now fires additional projectile. It can no longer stun and it deals less damage to players at close range. Shabron summons books. So much monster stuff here. Alright, I'm just going to skip the monster stuff because I don't care about it, really. Entire Atlas has been reworked. Many maps names have been changed in their position reworked. Rules to generate monsters and endgame maps have been significantly reworked, rebalanced around the rate which we expect players to reliably clear out the map. In general, narrow linear maps will contain fewer total monsters than maps with complex layouts. We will be closely monitoring and adjusting the balance of this change and expect to make future changes. Map mods have been rebalanced. Every mod now provides increased item rarity, increased item quantity, and increased monster pack size. Mayo-Kun monsters no longer gain a power endurance charge every 20 seconds. This was consistently causing performance problems. Monsters now have a chance to gain those charges on hit. The number of monsters that appear in the map has been reduced, but the area now grants an increased experience gain to compensate. A new map prefix Feasting. Areas inhabited by cultists of Kubava. Makes sense. Many monsters which appeared in Act 5 through Act 10 did not appear, and maps have been added to maps. Wow, I didn't even know that. Map bosses which have multiple forms or phases no longer count as multiple map bosses for the sake of achievement and challenges. Sun Color Ash has been rebalanced. It now has a 4-second cooldown. I'm not sure which one that is. Car can now smack around players standing too close to walls. Plague Hounds come out of the gates from farther away and pursue players for longer distances. Oh, those. Okay. Or Purge Hounds. Water Elementals had the variants appear in packs and mix available visible hidden monsters. Boss of Death and Texas unique map will now move 35% faster when immune to damage. That's good. Twisted Effigy monsters. Corpses can be desecrated. Roll map bosses will regain 33% of their maximum life when you break one of their nests. Damn! So no more like getting them down to 10 and then just be like, break nest, break nest, break nest. Alright. Add a pack of magic monsters to the boss rooms of maps. Monsters can now appear closer to the entrance of Obelisk's Trove, the Hollow Ground unique map. Passive tree changes. Valpack, we talked about that earlier. It also was moved. Passive skills behind matter now grant 10% increased maximum mana down from 12 on the non-notables and 30% increased maximum mana down from 40 and 40 added mana down from 100. Wow. Notable grants 3% life per second to maximum leech rate down from 5. Alright, so Leech nerfs passive skills, which previously granted increased melee damage while holding a shield, now grant increased physical attack damage while holding a shield. It's no longer restricted to melee. Ah, okay. Many passive skills which previously only provided defensive bonuses while using a shield also grant increased physical attack damage. Elements will hold the shield. So it seems like shield builds might be coming back soon. With one of the passive skills leading to the Ash, Fire, and Storm notable near Scion. Slayer got hit. The map bosses you are required to defeat to upgrade your Pantheon have for the most part changed. And then a new thing to the Pantheon. Hopefully it's not crap. Added a new Dark Stride effect that can only be found in the Eternal Labyrinth. Wonder what that is. Change the requirements from some chests to appear. In general, chests should feel more rewarding and better suited for their level of difficulty. Increase the total amount of items found on average from silver chests. Okay, that's good. Helmet enchant nerf. Alright, Xana mods available. 2 Anarchy Bloodlines. Beyond Fortune Favors the Braves. Cost 3 Chaos Ore. Selects a Xana mod at random from those available from the device, including any mods you have not yet unlocked. Interesting. I like that. And then Ambush. Domination. Oh, they finally put Essence on there. Nice. I always liked Essence. PvP balance, I don't care. World changes. Hedge Mage has been removed from both. Been moved to the Imperial Gardens. Aw. Might as well get rid of that crappy zone. Story glyphs have been added. Lore. Strange Barrel now contains many more ordinary non-swarming things. The fuel event and the beacon is now more involved, with extra monster packs spawning during the event. I just hate that event. It's so bad. Southern Forest, especially in Act 6, has been fleshed out. The Act 6 version can now generate Val side areas. In the lead up to the Pride Trinity encounter, the Heart entrances to Malagaro, Chavron, and Dordre areas stop beating as you defeat. Okay, that's a good idea. The Templar Slash in Act 10 Ossuary has been renamed. Okay, it must be a name. Target is no longer discusses the Hard Gardens, and talking to him about no longer required for all ears achievement. Added numerous variations to the world areas throughout the campaign. Most areas, in particular areas added in the Fall of Oriath, now have several new possible layouts. So that's good. Fall's Proclamation in Western Forest, now displayed in Part 2. You should check it out. It is pretty neat. Maybe. Updated the mini-map icons for doors and areas that were missing them, for doors and transitions and stuff. Shrines no longer appear directly outside of Tukahama's fortress. Katava's arena in Act 10 is now called the Altar of Hunger. Malachi's journal has no longer references an incorrect date. Prophecies, rare monsters able fulfilled to requirements for unique prophecies have been added to various locations throughout the world. They provide an opportunity to obtain an item with a high enough level to be 6 linked. You are no longer required to have a subject of a fated unique prophecy equipped. You can now complete such prophecies by merely holding the unique item in your inventory while killing the correct boss. I like that change. Obviously, the twins will turns a non-twin map into a twin map and no longer grants 6% increased quantity of items found. Prophecy Monster's Treasure now completes upon opening the final strongbox in the area. So if you opened all the strong boxes but one, does that mean it doesn't complete? And then you open up a new map and it won't be gone out of the thing? That's how I'm reading that. And then tons of bugs. I'm not going to go through all those. But yeah, that's kind of a boring patch, really. Like, I thought it would be something cool. But that Lion's Roar nerf, oh man. That's horrible. But yeah, I don't usually make videos like this. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too long. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and subscribe button. It'll help the channel out a lot. I also stream on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/JimmaJamma. Thanks for watching and have a good one.